tonight, staring at the ceiling like a restless child. Cause you're running around telling all these lies. You're telling all these lies, boy. You said you needed space, bet you're out right now, drinking with your friends, having a good time. But when you're feeling lonely, you come back around. You come back around. Oh. I'm done picking up your pieces. I'm done healing all your scars. You say we're done, but then next morning you regret what you said, huh? Here we go again. You tell me we're just friends, but then you call me feeling sorry for yourself. You want me back and tell me that you need my help. Here we go again. So tell me where your friends at. Cause you call me feeling sorry for yourself. You want me back and tell me that you need my help. All these thoughts are just running wild. You treat me so bad, but then you love me right. I can't get this off my mind, oh. I'm done picking up your pieces. I'm done healing all your scars. You say we're done, but then next morning you regret what you said, huh? Here we go again. You tell me we're just friends, but then you call me feeling sorry for yourself. You want me back and tell me that you need my help. Here we go again. So tell me where your friends at. Cause you call me feeling sorry for yourself. You want me back and tell me that you need my help. Stay where you're at, I will be moving on without you, baby. Don't bother to come back this time. Stay where you're at, I will be moving on without you, baby. Don't bother to come back this time. Here we go again. You tell me we're just friends, but then you call me feeling sorry for yourself. You want me back and tell me that you need my help. Here we go again. So tell me where your friends at.
Alright, well, I was trying a new thing. It wasn't the best, but I'm trying new things. I tried the little, like, where it was automatically switching. Oh, I forgot to play the music. Oh man, that kind of worked. Alright, let's do... I like that a lot better anyway. Alright, so today... Welcome, y'all. Or at this camera. If you might notice, there is no boom arm here, which is great. Like usually there's like an arm right here that's holding my mic, but not today. So last week, literally like Wednesday, I got the Elgato Low Pro boom arm here, and it's so nice and slick. Like, it just fits really nicely, except when I want to put it back. I don't know if you can see it too well, but that little ring-a-ding-ding was my, it was my coffee cup that died. That will die because it is right in the spot of it whenever I try to put it up where it gives like what can happen. And then of course, if I go the other way, it hits the wall. So I don't know yet. I haven't quite figured out the best place to put it. You can't put it from behind because the issue is if I go from behind, the mic doesn't reach far enough to me, which is fine. I mean, which is not fine. We need it close so that, you know, the best, what's called the proximity effect kicks in. It helps like boost and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what you want. But yeah, so anyway, it works. It's nice. And right before this, I before knew how to set my switcher to work with my, I knew how to, sorry, one more thing. Before this, I knew how to set the switcher to work with OSC. I've done it before, open sound control. If you're kind of new to the channel, OSC is kind of my thing. I picked it up in the theater days where I used to for show control. So I would be able to control like my console from the computer or fire multiple like projector keys. Bless you. Fire multiple projector cues to like different at the same time, which was really neat. And fired away from my console. Fired away like wirelessly, which is even better. So I did that. And I knew you could do that with the ATEM because there's this little app called ATEM OSC that runs on Mac OS. So you install that, then you can control it via OS Open Sound Control, which means I can use the little Stream Deck here thanks to a plugin in the Stream Deck software called, share the screen real quick, boom, thanks to the little software over here, so I can control with this buttons, and then thanks to the software, we actually get these cam 1s and cam 2 buttons, because the plugin, we have push toggle fades, which the fade is kind of weird, so don't hold me to that right now. But because we have push buttons, now when I push the button, we toggle which one we're looking at. And real quick, and here's the ATEM OSC looks like. So you don't actually have to run through the companion app like before, which I used to do a lot, was run through the companion app. And I don't necessarily like the companion app because it takes over the entire Stream Deck. And I still need to be able to control Ecamm. Like there's a lot of stuff on my Stream Deck still happening. So that was a lot of like what I did. That's what I was doing, fiddling with before the stream. But with that being said, let's hop into what we're actually doing today. I'm gonna go ahead and click. Oh. Yeah, I thought that would break. Let me open it back up. And it should come right back, and we should. Boom. This little app, the ATEM OSC, is totally worth doing. And then you can send feedback messages. So like if you wanted like, how I just had this set, sorry, this is gonna turn into a little bit of like a show control, like how Megan did things at one point. On my iPad, I had this app called Touch OSC before. So basically I would set that IP address here and send it to the iPad, and that would trigger actually like the status buttons to be correct. So I would get like the red and the green and like what's in the goes and like what's currently on and what's currently off type deal, which was pretty neat. But with that being said, this app is super cool. If you have an ATEM, you're running Mac OS and you have a Stream Deck and you want other things to work at the same time as Companion, this is the way to go. Unless there's a way around what I've been talking about, then please let me know. But this is the way to go. We're gonna minimize this time though. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, let me tell you. Today we are gonna be working with Figma, and there's a couple things that I want to do. Let me get my Notion open real quick. And let me get it on screen, because I can do these things. Text. So tasks. Where is my Rocket app? Oh, right, it opens. I think I do it twice. Box. I know, this is very, very exciting. You. All right, anyway, we'll just do this. All right, so we're gonna learn how to use Figma symbols. And what's next? Finish main programming screen for iPhones. Oops, one more. And start main programming screen for iPads. Down a little bit, and so these are the tasks that I have. So those are the tasks that I want to get done. I want to learn how to use, so we're going to walk through how to use symbols in Figma, which means learn how to use symbols in Figma, because let's be honest, I don't know how. Then we're going to finish up the main programming screen, which is what we see here. We have this guy. We're going to adjust that. And then hopefully start the main programming screen for iPads, and we'll just go one screen at a time to restart it. Oh, publish. Get me out of preview mode. Back to live mode. There we go. And that's what we're going to do. So this is the programming mode, and we'll get to it. So first thing on the list is how to use Figma symbols, because let's be honest, I don't know how to use Figma symbols, and it would be really nice to be able to drag things into buttons and make them be buttons. Wow, I also can't type. How to use Figma symbols, and go to Google, because DuckDuckGo is not we should not go for DuckDuckGo. What to expect? So before I was using Figma, I was actually using Sketch quite a bit. So this is actually probably a really good thing for me. I used Sketch a bit just because it was what everyone said they were using on Twitter, and then everyone started using Figma, and here we are where I have no idea how to use Figma, and I don't want to pay for Sketch. So yeah. All right, so in Figma, we have a parent object called a frame, which is similar to artboards. All right, so symbols are Figma components. You can then use instances of these main symbols in other places around the documents. Essentially, in Sketch, main symbols and instances can't live in the same page, which can sometimes make it difficult. Yeah, that's true. Via the overrides panel in the right, if you need to edit the main symbol, you'll have to go back to the symbol page and edit it there. Oh, so that's what happened in Sketch. So in Figma, though, we manipulate multiple. All right, so how do we make libraries? Also would be a good one to figure out. So both Sketch and Figma have libraries, which is neat. They make it easy. My coffee got cold after I spilled it everywhere. What you missed pre-stream is this whole back half was covered in coffee because of that thing I showed you earlier with the mic arm. Yeah, it was not fun. I wish it was slightly better than that. Anyway. Alright, if you don't want a particular component to get published, maybe it's not finished yet, or you only plan to use it in one file, just add a period at the beginning of the name. Okay, so how do I do this? Components is what they're called. How to make components in Figma gbang. So I just call the exclamation mark bang. So whenever you hear me say gbang, that's what's going on. Components guide. Users can only on any plan. Sorry, I was a little bit itchy on my arm. A main component defines related articles, create components. Yeah, that's what I want to do is create a component. That's what I asked to do. Can't publish components to a library. Users can edit, can view. Okay, but how? Click create component in the toolbar. Or right click hit component. So if we wanted to make this a button. Then there should be a, oh, create component. Then I can rename the component here, I think. Oh, description. Oh, that's nifty. Okay. I see. So OSC is on. Well, that's pretty cool. Doesn't help if I'm covering it up. So we're just gonna put my face here. Put myself there. All right, so OSC is on. That's the variant down here. Loki, I know. Okay. Then, so then I can adjust the variant probably. Yeah, I can. Default. So actually it should be blind is on. Oh, that's cool. I can also have links to different things here, which is neat. So we can have different description so if I had this actually documented somewhere, we could do that. Blind button is on from the console. Okay, and then we could probably go here. Oops. So this is actually blind is on. I know. OSC is on. OSC has triggered the blind button on. And then if we go to the other blind button is OSC has triggered the blind button off. Oh, actually, and we probably don't want this to even be, because this is just gonna be like a status button, right? Like, since it's a component, it doesn't have it to happen. I mean, I don't know. Like, is there? I don't know. I don't know what to do necessarily, but we'll figure it out. Blind. Whoops. Labels are always your friend everywhere, and don't let me get lazy. If you see that I didn't label something, then please like tell me I didn't label. And the only issue with that OSC thing that I figured out how to do with the Stream Deck is I don't know how to crossfade the two. I will figure it out. I just don't know how. I'm sure there's a guide somewhere. All right, so we have the variants. Blind. I mean, it's going to be the same, but it'll be highlight instead, which highlight is also blue. Can I create components to reuse in a single file? Oh, it'll create a custom button if you add a link. But what is a documentation link? Like, what does that even mean? Like, a documentation link in Figma? maybe we want to do this. Because I don't know what it is necessarily. What software update is trying to authenticate? Oh, it's probably a beta, to be honest. Link to documentation. Open documentation pages for your components. Oh, so I could actually... Oh no, this is a plugin. Okay, so it looks like we have... Ah, yes, it was right. That's fine. You can do that later, please. Don't do it now. Okay, so we can actually, yeah. And then if I go to documentation, enables you to add documentation to your main components if you have variations in similar components specific. Oh, thanks, Heather. It's, hold on, I have gone through many, and come back. I always don't know which one to hit. I have gone through many iterations of, well, I've gone through 2 of these iterations of the keyboard. They have been, it was quite fun to put all the keycaps back onto the keyboard. But yeah, I love the old style Mac keys because it has the actual like command option keys, and then also the and then also like just the colors on it. It was nice. Where did it go? Go to blue. There we go. Usually I just keep it on blue though, because that is the color that I usually choose. It keeps with the theme everywhere. Cool. Let's boom. All right. Yeah, it was fun. It's definitely, I don't know. I have a thing with keyboards. There are so many cool key sets out there that I thoroughly want and enjoy, but have to control myself. And then I always think, like, if I change the keyboard keycaps, like, what are we gonna do with it? Like, what am I gonna... But I just love these keycaps so much that it's like, it's done. It's chosen. It does get quite confusing. I have a custom, another keyboard over here that is this. Yes, it gets very confusing to use them between the two. Did you know... And it's probably because the command key and the control key are switched. You probably already know this, but I will throw this tip out here. Inside system preferences under keyboard, you can change your modifier keys and change what your command and control keys are so they line up correctly. So under system preferences, keyboard modifiers, you can change where they all are, so that they actually like line up like the Mac keys do, like if you were on your laptop or whatever. It saved me quite a bit of fumbling back and forth. Because I also, so whenever I was doing the back and forth from PC to when I would go back a lot with like my old job from work from PC to Mac, instead of having to like remap my brain to work, I would just map the keys to be the same. So my command and my control would end up swapping on the Mac side. It was a mess whenever I got on someone else's Mac, but you know, it worked. It got it done. But yes, it does get confusing. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna document these yet, but that is nifty. All right. Yeah, so it's sorry, that was probably loud. Yeah, but now you do. The more you know. I spent too many times trying to spending frustrations with that. Okay, so how do we change though? Create an instance. No. Override properties, maybe? So what I'm trying to do, and I should talk out loud about this. So what I'm trying to do here is make this to where it's less. So right now it's just stuck to blind. I want to be able to go and change the text. So like I know something but where I can change the text to both at the same time. I know this was a thing I could do in Sketch, but I don't know if it's which is another design tool, but I don't know if it's a thing I can do in Figma, so I'm trying to figure that out right now. All right, so properties and values. The image below shows all the variants of this component inside a component set. I'm probably skipped over a lot. No, I didn't. Okay, so that is the next thing. So again, first thing on the task list we're gonna do is try to figure out how to properly make these. So that's what we're doing right now. I wanna follow as many conventions as I can as possible, and then we'll deal with it from there. Okay, so it has these. There are 4 properties in our button component set, each with its own set of values. But how did it do that? Okay, so I'm probably jumped ahead. So let's tweet that real quick. Aha. So we'll call this, we'll actually make a whole new page for components. And let's drop in a new artboard. I just need a, sure, desktop is fine. Because basically, can I right click and, whoops, don't want to flatten. I just want to, can I decouple? Basically, I want to make it not a component anymore. I might not be able to. That's fine. We'll just grab highlight then. Components. Ah, it made it a vector, which was not what I wanted. That is interesting. Let's go ahead and rename that though. Programming. All right, so inside here, so we will, can I group that together? Button is what we'll call it. I just delete that. We're gonna make a mess, but that's okay because we'll maybe fix it at some point. Components. Button. I don't have that. Can I now? I don't want to create components to reuse. Figma will nest the layers within a special component frame. Where is that frame? Using the purple, identify components using the purple chevron icon. See, it said it had a special frame, but where is the frame? We don't know. It does not actually say the frame. There is no frame. It lied to me. I think that's what happened. No, I think it's just that I don't know where it is. I should probably watch more YouTube videos about it. Aha! Local components. Button. I found it. So underneath assets, there was programming. iPhone 8-1. Aha. Found it. So button text. Oh, that's awesome. I always want it to be centered. All right. That not. Ah. All right, so we can probably add a variant here. So we have two variants. So if we go to default, properties and values of the variant are conflicting. I don't even know what that. Okay, so the property here is going to be LED is off. And then, well, the default should be LED is off. So the console has told us that the LED is off. And the default LED is so let's see here. I don't know. Is that even? I have no idea what's happening. All right, so we have that component. Add the property. So this is variant 2, which is that one. LED is on. Which means we can go in here. So the fill is going to change the button text, which I've always done before. I actually really like the button text changing because it's just a subtle little nod, but it might be too subtle if you think about it being on like the small like screen like here. So like if you have the buttons, so if you have the buttons and it's it might be hard to see like just the black with the red, so to say. So we'll keep that white, I think, for now. What if we did add a... What if we did a stroke around it, though? That is something I could do easily. I also have to think about what I can do easily inside, I always have to think about what I can do easily inside, coding, because inside Swift, just because I'm not the best when it comes to Swift, to Swift, but we are getting there. We are getting better. Yeah. So we can do that and change the text. So like if we do both at the same time, I think that'll be okay. And we'll change the stroke color. Yeah. There we go. So now it can, it's at least differentiating enough. And that should actually be red LED is on. And this is going to be blue LED is on. So what was that? We had a stroke. A stroke on the inside, I think of 4 pixels. That sounds like something I would do. Yeah. I don't even know if it's going to get me what I want, y'all. This is all trial and error. If you know anything about Figma, I would be super happy for any kind of help. But stroke 4. Oh, I don't want the stroke on the text. I lied about that. I want the stroke on the outside. Add the stroke. 4. And basically it's just what I think is gonna look the best. It doesn't necessarily, it's gonna work once I code it up. Oh, and we're not doing, this is blue. That's not the right color either. Colors. That's the color I'm looking for. There we go. There we go. And I know the blue fades into the background there, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, so I think it'll be okay. Just because... Yeah, that'll be okay because usually those buttons are going to end up either in their own like pop-up or they're going to end up in their own, they're either going to end up in their own modal, which is going to be separate from that gradient background that's going on that goes into the blue itself, or it's going to have to go, or it'll be right at the top where it's pretty light. Or I might not, I don't even know if I like the gradient, to be honest. We'll have to play and see if that actually ends up being like what stays and or what goes. But let's see. Okay, so those are different buttons. So like, can I then, if I go into, and then that's when you can go nifty, and then I can change the text here. And it's not going to change up there. That's awesome. Let's take this though into layers, components, and drop these here. Yeah, we'll just leave them like they are. Let's go into back into programming. I think I can delete them now because they already exist. Yeah, so because they already exist there, we can actually grab them, which is nice. If I wanted to actually listen to my like labeling here, we could go, instead of desktop 1, I can actually say what I want here, which is gonna be button. We'll leave it as buttons. That's fine. LED button. Yeah, that's fine for now. Sorry, y'all, one sec. I know I should be really more leave the phone, but just gotta make sure. All right, so we have that. Now let's go into programming. We'll drop this back here. Another one over here. And this is gonna be clear, not clear, blind. And both of these could go blue, so we could. No, does it not work that way now that I've... Oh, okay, so I was able to take it back to the LED button. I see. So if I swap it for that LED button again, boom. Usually though, you'd never have these on at the same time, all that kind of stuff. I also don't like that it's black. Let's go. I don't like solid black. They're just not, I don't think solid black actually looks good on most things, like on the screen. And also it helps make it pop just a bit more. What is though the gray, if I were to type in gray? So this is from a library that I got before. So I got a, there is a SwiftUI library. There is a iOS 15 library actually linked in the description already. I had found it on the last stream. If you missed the last stream and you want to catch more, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You know, it just helps. Follow button if you're on Twitch, all that good stuff. You can find me on all the social medias, usually just the same name that's been going on. But the... Oh, that's fun. Ah, there we go. So yeah. So we can actually take this, and like I post, so if you're kind of new to here, welcome in. I'm Megan. I'll just do a quick recap because I actually didn't introduce myself at the beginning either. I'm Megan. I usually do coding, but right now I'm in the middle of redesigning my iOS app for hog control. I basically like anything tech. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get weekly videos about iOS software development, web development, maybe some unboxings, all that fun stuff that happens, some vlogs, just to see what's going on. I'm currently a software engineer, and that mainly focuses in no code, but I do have a strong interest in the code side, hence why I have an app on the App Store. I have a couple iOS apps actually out there right now, and I'm going through and redesigning the one that I actually charge for because the design could be a lot better, and I need to start picking up Figma a bit more, and so I figured why not kill two birds with one stone, redesign the app, and learn Figma at the same time. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to ask. If you have anything that you want to add in that could be useful for me to know, please feel free to add it in. I'd be more than happy for any kind of advice here. I'm just kind of going through and trying to figure out how it's all gonna work. Add. All right, so that's the gray I need. Actually, I'm gonna start with in here. So if we go back to components. Boom. Oh, see, but once I put in the gray, if I put in the gray, I might have to use a custom color, and I really try to stay away from custom colors. The reason why you try to stay away from custom colors in iOS is it's just a little bit more of a, it's a little bit more of a hassle to actually figure it out. So I'll go ahead and plop this in real quick. Oh, that way we can see what exactly this looks like. Okay, so we already know it doesn't look good on with red text or with blue text. With white text, it's great, but that's about it. So like, I don't like using custom colors. It's just one more thing that I always have to update, and I have to then go and make sure that it's gonna look decent with the rest of the app. But if I keep it white, and I actually end up getting rid of the gradient in the background, which, let's be honest here, I don't think the gradient's actually helping anything right now. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of the gradient. Let's go back to solid. I think it's probably going to end up being best to just keep it solid white in the back. I know it's not as graphical, it's not as nice, but it'll probably look better and be better for users, which is honestly like what matters at the end. Is your app actually usable? That kind of stuff. So we actually have to focus on that a bit more than just like making sure it looks pretty. But that doesn't mean we can't still spruce it up a bit. Hey, Tom. My streams make you... Well, believe me, you're not a poser because iHog's website is totally hosted on Squarespace. So I also use Squarespace because it is way easy to get your stuff done in, to get your website designed. I never shy away from Squarespace. at all. Well, I do because of the price, just because I have to be price conscious. But no, WYSIWYG is totally where it's at with your WYSIWYG editor. That is, I do not blame you whatsoever. At all. If it was easy to make my app in that way, I'd probably go more so that way. But yes, let's see. Yes, 110% a Squarespace site here, because I could not do the web design part or get it looking that good, to be honest, on this site. So yes. The only reason I don't use something like this is because it doesn't necessarily exist for iOS, which is also why I'm like, I have to use the colors that are built in, because I don't want to deal, like, Apple gave us colors for a reason. I don't want to have to deal with finding my own. Yeah, I think that's actually going to be better if I do that. Let's go back to fill, get the white in there. Boom, that looks way better. And let's make blind back to, oh good, I'm glad. No, you should not feel like a poser with this, because I also have no idea what I'm doing. I'm also just pushing around and seeing if it actually looks good. Which actually I'm going to keep my Squarespace site open because it shows me where I've come from. So basically, that is the iPad version of the screen we're replacing. And basically I need to figure out how to get all these buttons onto this teeny tiny screen of the iPhone size. So that's always the challenge that I have. But like I said, I'm going to keep that open over here so I can keep and make sure that I hit all the buttons how I need to on here. Yeah. Cool. All right. Those don't look centered, but maybe it's because this one doesn't have a stroke and this one does. Let's put the stroke instead of on the, oh, it is on the inside. Oh, that's weird. What if we center it? I think that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and delete that though for now, and let's center it on the screen, which we did. Lady is on. Yeah. And then clear. And let's just turn this off just to make sure. Boom. Man, that red really sticks out, doesn't it? I mean, I guess the point is for it to stick out because you want that clear button to actually like highlight, and you want it, I mean, as a user, you want to know when it's on. It's like if you're on your like, if you're on like, if you stream or whatever, like you're on something and you like your big red record button, you want to know that it's on. Like you want to make sure that you're recording, you want to make sure that you have stuff in your programmer. So that I think that makes sense. All right, so then we do highlight, blind, clear. I always make sure that's up there. The command line comes in from there. I feel like next, back, and all would make the next good chance here. So I'm going to go ahead and group these though. Highlight. Ooh, my watch is telling me it's time to stand. That is not good. That means I did not stand enough today. I think that's okay with it also being like that, because you don't want to accidentally hit one of those. Yes. Having virtually no indicators of what's selected. You are completely correct. You kind of missed it at the beginning. Well, you might have been listening. I don't know, Tom. Of like, so at one point I made an actual like streamed. I basically made a i8 mini controller, but for my iPad. So like there's this app called ATEM OSC that you can use to actually send feedback messages. If your ATEM's connected to like the same network that your computer's on, you can send it to send message. You can actually have it send messages back. So you could have it send a message back to, I was having it send back to my iPad so I could actually see what camera was actually selected. I mean, you don't have that issue if your ATEM's just like right there, but like mine's off behind my mount. So mine's actually gonna switch. Oh, I closed the app. That's what happened. I'm like, why is it not going? Oh, I closed it. That's why. So like mine's actually right behind where my finger's pointed, so it's like really far away. So by using this app, I can actually use the Stream Deck to control the ATEM. But on the iPad, I had this actually sending back to where it was like changing the colors and such, so I could actually see what was selected. But yes, streaming platforms could definitely be better on that. I think I figured out how to use Figma symbols for the most part, so we're gonna call that probably done. Can I? Screen check. Check. White check mark. Boom. Oh, thanks, Chris. Nah, it's, I mean, I don't think it's that, I bet you could also do this. I mean, it's basically like working with, I mean, it's basically like working with like Canva or anything. You're just clicking and dragging and moving things around. It's not too terrible. I have been basically just pushing buttons this entire stream, hoping that it works correctly. But thank you. Thanks for the congrats there. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. I'm still learning where all my buttons are on the Stream Deck. All right, so we have the highlight, blind, clear. There is probably no good way for me to get these big buttons on there without opening into another screen. So we're gonna go ahead and like push that off to go into another screen. The next back and all, and same with these buttons here, down here. Those are gonna go into its own other screen, and those will get info from the console. So that's why they're blank. Let's see. Because I really want to get as many. I should really work on getting the number pad on there. So basically, like I said, I'm redesigning this app here. So I really need to. Nice. Well, I appreciate it. Hopefully, you have a good walk, Chris. I really feel bad whenever like the Apple Watch tells me I should stand up. And I'm like, yeah, I should. And I should walk around. But alas, I need to keep going on this stuff. All right, so we're going to work on getting this part built right here. This number pad with all the buttons around it. Just so that we can figure out. Because once that's in place, then we can probably figure out how to place the rest. Let's go back into components because I really need to... Oh, I don't need another page. I do need to add another button though. So component wise, I don't think I should push another, but I don't think I need to make another, I don't think I need to make each of these individual buttons components. I think I just need one static component. So let's do, we need a square. So if you hold down shift, and this works in most design programs, if you hold down shift and you push the button, then you usually get a square. So if I don't hold down shift, it's whatever rectangle it wants to be. But if I hold down shift, we get a nice little square. We'll try with 36. And I know I like the rounded rectangle. What was that though? 5. So let's do 5 here for the rounded rectangle. I don't know why it actually makes no sense to choose 5 whatsoever. Usually in web design / app design, you try to go for 4s, like divisible by 4. Most devices, like their screen resolution is divisible by 8 or by 4. So that's usually, whoops, not 54. That's usually why you go for a 4, number that's divisible by 4. Boom, and we'll click in there, and 4. Not really that much of a difference that you can see, but it'll be fine. And also another reason to go with Apple's built-in colors is, so like whenever I'm designing this, like I said, I try to use Apple's built-in color scheme as much as possible. Another reason that I like to do that is because Apple does this nifty thing with light versus dark mode for colors, and you might not notice it if you're not really like paying too much attention. But like if you go up here and you compare like the light and the dark indigo, they look relatively the same here. You have your indigo light, your indigo dark, but if you look at the hex values or the RGB values, they're actually slightly different. So they actually, so like whenever you're in dark mode, it actually like makes it makes the color just a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. It's just one more piece that I don't necessarily have to worry about. So if I use Apple's default colors, then it's just a little bit easier for me to, it's just one less thing I have to worry about. Like I don't have to worry about making that custom color do that itself. All right. Let's see. So then, so like in theory, I should do these designs over again in dark mode once I'm done with light mode, just to get the right colors, but I don't think I will. Just because I might be a little bit too antsy to start coding again, which I feel like is fair. Let's get these back to being white though. That way they're just there to be normal. Like they're a, whenever I go to add them again, they'll be okay. So we're gonna do text. T is quick select for text. And let's put a number in. Centered. I just need it centered. So these red grids are super helpful because they just help me make sure that I'm centered to the, centered to it, to the actual component. And now we can make it a component here. Let's rename it to program button. I think it's called FP button inside my app, so that's probably the best thing to name it, is FP button, which is great. Cool. Yeah. Now inside programming, we can go back in here and add it in. Let's do a, how did I do that before? Oh, I think I just copied it, to be honest. So I'm trying to do the 4 cross, and it's 4 cross and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just... Can you tell me how much is between there now? No, it cannot. There should be a way to, if I click on here, grid it up for me, please. And let's do 12 pixel grid. So basically the 12 pixel grid is if once I line this up, oh my goodness, I forgot I did that. If I line this up on the grid, I can then use the grid to actually help me line it up, which is exactly what I want. I forgot that this was supposed to be like this. Boom. All right, so now I can go in and fill it in, and then I'll work on making them bigger because they're definitely not tappable at this size. So they're way, way, way not tappable right now, which is fine. It's just gonna take a little bit of maneuvering here. Let's see, where can I put myself now? We'll just put myself over here. This is like the internal struggle of me figuring out, of me doing like the live coding and designing stuff. Is like, where do I place my face so it's not in the way? And the answer is, there is never a good place to place my face when I'm not in the way. So this is not Swift whatsoever. So what I'm using right now is Figma, and this is purely a design tool. So basically this is where I would go, where like if you're on a design, if you're working with designers, this is actually where you go to work on, where you go and actually like have the designs made. So like, what I'm doing here is laying out where I want all the buttons, and then so answering Chris's question here on how is the application better, different, same, better, different, same than Swift. So right now this is no coding whatsoever. This is purely just working with like the graphics itself, trying to get everything laid out, making sure that it's going to look right on the screen first. And then I'll take it into Xcode, which is where I actually work on the app itself. So we'll open it real quick, real quick. So then so the next, after I'm done actually designing is when I'll do on the next stream, whenever I'm done designing. I don't know when that'll be, hopefully soon. Because to be honest, I don't like the design part. I just know I need to be better at it, so I need to practice with it. So that's whenever I'll go into, so this is all written in Swift and SwiftUI. So right now, this is, so basically if I run this file right here, the fpprogrammer.swift, this is gonna be where it all, so this is going to be where it all like comes into play. So I would go into, so basically what I'm redesigning right now is this file right here. And I'm trying to figure out where exactly like all the buttons go. And that's exactly what these files do, is change all of that. So no coding necessarily right now. It's just getting ready to go write it all in Swift itself, basically. Yeah, so yeah, no problem, of course. So it all relates because I gotta have a design to work off of. I've done it so far just in my head, and I'm hoping that if I lay it out beforehand, it'll actually give me a plan on what to do next time, on what to do better. Because like if we look back in the screenshots here, I'm actually not happy at all that I've released it this way. If we zoom in, you can see that this update button right here, update, and the E is on the wrong thing, on the wrong line. And I hate the fact that I shipped it that way, but it was either get it out or ship it that way. And I'm taking the time to fix some mistakes like that. That is the point of this right now. So yeah, of course, I am more than happy to answer any questions like that whatsoever. Also, I feel like knowing how some of these programs work is actually really beneficial. So like right now, I am currently a software engineer at a startup here in Austin. I work heavily with the design and marketing teams, and means that they use Figma quite a bit here. They use Figma quite a bit. They give me the designs in Figma, and I have to go and implement them in a program called Webflow, which is kind of like a designer's step up from Squarespace. So it's still WYSIWYG. You still like move things around, you place them just right, but it has a little bit more flexibility there. So it's kind of like a cross between what I'm doing here in Squarespace, I would say, because you're not actually writing the code itself. But so I feel like knowing how to use some of these tools properly also helps me like know what exactly that team is doing or how that team is working necessarily. Oh, I don't need the square. Boom. So that will give me, so now if I go and fill these in, and then also like if I were to get a developer job, or if I want to freelance, it also helps knowing how to like work in Figma and stuff like that. And you know, making my apps better is never a bad thing. I'm just going in and filling in the numbers like they should be. Ooh, that's really tight. That SwiftUI is not going to be happy with that. But we'll play with that. But 4, 5, 6, full. Through 1, 2, 3 at 0. What's up, Corgi? The corgi is just rolling around right now. He is done being locked in here. I can tell it's on his face that he is just done with life right now. Do you want to go out? Okay. I'll be right back. Just one sec. I live by the will of the animals. There was also, I forgot that there was even a cat in here, to be honest. Until she was like, I also want to go out. And I was like, okay, we can make that happen, Sydney. Let's make... Fine. All right, so we have the grid. Like I said, the buttons are way too small. Obviously, like, you don't want that on your iPhone screen. So let's wrap them in a group. So, because I think I should, if I wrap them in a group, I, in theory, should be able to make them all bigger. Boom. And we'll rename this number pad. Not only can I make it bigger, I can make it proportionately bigger, which is always a win. All right, so I'm not necessarily a fan of them not lining up correctly. Where does the align horizontally? Okay, so that definitely makes the buttons bigger, but I don't know if that gap is the best. So hold on. So I'm taking a really heavy inspiration from pCalc. Of the pCalc app on iOS. It's actually a really nice app. I don't know which camera is chosen. So like the app itself is actually really nicely designed. It's got a lot of buttons on it, which is great because that's what I have, is a lot of buttons. And like he fits, like this developer fits a lot on this screen and it doesn't seem cramped. I fit a lot on the screen and it always seems cramped, but maybe it's because he has that background color. So I wonder though if we can, oh, go back. So let's go ahead and just move these over just a tad bit. Also, if you haven't used pCalc and you want a really good like third-party calculator app, I definitely highly recommend pCalc. Like it's a really nice app. Like a really nice. You never thought you needed a good calculator app until you touched pCalc, and then you're like, oh yeah, that would be really nice. I use it in the mornings for all my coffee stuff, actually. Okay, but I guess my question is, does it have to stay a square? Hold on. There we go. Do I need it to stay square also? There. Oh, I see. They're not lined up anymore, which we'll fix that. Boom, 72 by 72. Punch that over. Great. Two. 72. I could also, I guess, just go here. That might actually be way easier. Yeah, that's way easier. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Because that would have made way too much sense. That's actually why. Boom. Check that out. That's... So just making them like big like that actually made a lot of difference. So we want 72 times 2 plus 12. 72 times 2 plus 12. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening. I appreciate you dropping by and dropping some comments. Always fun. Yeah, so we're going to do 72 times 2 plus 12. Oh, I didn't do math right. 72 times 2 plus 12. There we go. And what's really nice is most design software now allows you to do that kind of stuff. And we'll do 72 high. Like just math right into the browser like that. Like right into the spot. Like it just makes it easier. All right, so that's working out. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these actually, because nope, go back. Can we ungroup? Is that an option? Ungroup. Yeah, it is. I should have actually figured out like where I wanted things first before doing this, just because it would have saved me like having to retype everything again, but that would be about it. All right, so those are 72 by 72, and we already have the enter button in the right spot. Now I can bring those down. Grab these down again. And down. Yeah. Boom. All right. And then we'll... I'm still not utilizing enough space on that side. I mean, they're definitely bigger, and it actually doesn't feel as cramped even though they're bigger now. Like, I feel like they should be a little bit more cramped than they are, but alas. But I think, unfortunately, I'm going to hit all my stops, all my points that I wanted to hit. But I think that's all I can do today. Switch. There we go. Hit the right button. So I got learn how to use Figma symbols in, which are actually called components inside Figma. I didn't finish programming the coding the main screen, and start the next one. Those were kind of stretch goals, to be honest. But that just means next week we will have more to do. I may or may not pick this up off stream just because I do want to get it done. Maybe I should center them. Anyway, with that being said, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, please. Hit subscribe. If you're on Twitch, go follow me on YouTube, because that's where all the fun, cool kids are right now. And you can go and learn about Swift and all that stuff from me. I will catch y'all next time. Bye.